I'm sorry the stupid freaking camera just randomly cut off, but let me continue on. Most people in the world are not that attractive, okay? However, let's be real. If most people in the world aren't that attractive, then what does that really mean for the most part? It means that quite a few people who are not the best looking still got to bang. Right? They still got to bang. And listen, let me just be real for a moment, guys. Just because somebody is with somebody else does not mean that it's like they're the, most attractive people. Because, like, some people are taking this crap to the extreme where it's like they say, hey, well, if all of us just basically stop breeding and only, like, the handsome people are bred, then, like, everyone will look beautiful. That's really not it. And let me just tell you something else that's going to happen. Even if that were to happen, if everybody was just going to willfully practice that kind of, like, eugenics, if you will, all that would really happen after that is this, okay? Here's all that would happen. They would look for something else to be pissed about and to say that you're not measuring up for. If every single guy looked like, say, Hugh Jackman, right, then all they're going to say is, well, he doesn't have enough money, his teeth aren't wide enough. They're going to find something. You have to understand that people, for some reason, feel the need to differentiate themselves, and not in a manner that gives them individuality, in a manner that says that I'm better than you. They will try their damnedest to try and find a way to say that they have better status than you, rather than just be an individual, They'll work so hard to say that they have more status rather than, be willing to separate from the herd, be willing to be true to who they are. It's odd to me. It's odd to me that they invest that much time and energy and stuff. But I kind of wanted to talk about that again because, guys, don't think that you can't get any. I'm going to tell you something right now, guys. You probably could, but you'd probably have to pick someone who you might not really be that attracted to. And that's the truth. I'm not going to sit around here and tell you that you should, especially in today's day and age, But if that's what you wanted, then go for it, Go for it, Because the truth of the matter is this. No matter what anyone really tells me, unless, like, something crazy happens, and unless, like, somebody basically, I don't know, hits me on the head or something, there's no possible way that I'm ever really going to get involved romantically, I may go ahead and bang the occasional hooker here or there, but that's about it. I have no desire to bring a kid into a world like this. I have no desire to pop out another slave for the state to freaking abuse for years on end. I am dedicating my life to my hobbies, and honestly, that little goal of mine to, go ahead and build some kind of companion doll, so that some of these guys who are kind of like me, who kind of like check out, will have something. Even if it's not for everyone, it'll be for the ones that, can get something, and hopefully that can make them feel a little bit less lonely and whatnot, Because to be honest, guys, at the end of the day, should you choose to invite somebody in your life, you got to understand that at any point, it's not just them being able to leave. They get to leave with your crap. And nothing about that's cool. Nothing about that is cool at all. And it's about time that we start realizing that, listen, no matter what anyone wants to say, you have a right to prioritize your life, okay? If you feel like it's a good trade to have companionship and sex and maybe a kid, and as a result you serve a woman, then by all means, go ahead and do it. But I don't think that's a good deal. I don't. Because at the end of the day, I'm getting the shorter end of the stick, big time. I have to handle far more of the burden, and that's not right. And just because somebody else is working, that doesn't mean that they're contributing nearly as much as you think, man. I'm being completely honest. I've seen it time and time again. Just because two people are working does not mean that the burden is mainly on, like, evenly distributed. It's usually still more so on one person, And I'm sick of it. I want to live a comfortable, I'm not going to say carefree life, but like I said, all I'm trying to live is a life where I can be happy. And adding responsibility to my life just isn't really something that I'm interested in. Good buddy of mine, Tom, mentioned that, like, being single for a while kind of feels a little bit hollow and stuff like that. And a lot of people say that, But for me, like, I feel like I've had my fill of relationships, to be honest. I have had relationships. And honestly, I've kind of basically been a surrogate father, if you will, in relation to raising my siblings and having to cook for them and feed them and stuff like that, even when I was younger. So I just knew that it was just really exhausting. Relationships in general, I feel, are quite overrated. Like, there's so much energy that you have to put in there. There's so much drama you have to entertain. And maybe if somebody was like, kind of like me, where they actively avoided drama, they stayed silent most of the time, they were deep introspective and stuff like that, maybe I'd be open to it, but good luck finding that. Good luck finding that. All you see, like, for God's sakes, like, the chick that said that I was cute, for instance, she's covered in face tattoos. She's covered in face tattoos, and I'm like, hold up. How can people sit around here and, like, say that, on the one hand, this job doesn't allow face tattoos, but I guess because, it's a woman, then it's fine, I just really don't understand that. But, nonetheless, allow me to just say this, okay? Let me just say this. If you guys really want it, you gotta be willing to get it. You can't just sit around and talk all the day away on the internet about, like, oh, I want this, I need this fantasy, well, it's over, I'll never get it. You have to put yourself in positions to where it can happen, If you want some chick who's probably going to understand you, consider going to, a comics con. Consider going to some kind of gaming convention. You gotta find... I don't like saying your looks match and stuff like that. I want to just say, like, who actually kind of, you can see yourself living with. Because just because somebody looks good does not mean that they're good for you. It's kind of like the whole saying, like, just because it looks good doesn't mean it's good for you. Like, there are people that can look absolutely beautiful, but they have such a garbage, despicable personality. And, like, the moment they open their mouths, you're like, holy cow, I cannot be anywhere near you, And it's not because you don't like what they're saying in terms of, like, oh, they're saying something politically incorrect. It's just because they're just a piece of crap. They're an egotistical bastard. And you see a lot of that these days. The ego is massive thanks to social media. So, you never know about that, right? But I know this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one, and I know that technically I don't know why, but I don't really have a way to merge videos. At least not yet. I probably will fix that once I move. And speaking of moving, the day's coming up, boys. We're getting closer and closer. Almost pretty much 1 week away now, because I should be moving on the 28th. And I will have my place, and thank God for these freaking hours so that I can be comfortable without having to get another job. But I still think I should look. So that just in case, I can get a part-time, maybe dedicate this job entirely to night shift, and have the part-time in the morning for, like, maybe 3 or 4 days a week. Because if my hours are fixed now, then maybe I'll just do 3 days a week. But if it's still, like, wishy-washy, then I'll just do 4 days. Because all I'm trying to make sure that I do is not overwork myself, but I need to make sure that I have a stable amount of money to be able to reliably pay rent. And even if there are instances where, say, like, something like this happened again, where my hours got cut, I'll be good. The goal of mine is to live comfortably. It's not to overwork myself. Even if I have to kind of overwork myself for a season, that's not what I'm going to do forever, So, that's at least the plan here. But again, I kind of want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys, seriously. Like I said, you guys give me strength. More than you know. A lot of you have shared some pretty effed up stuff that's happened to you, and I'm thankful that you feel comfortable enough to talk about that with me. And maybe one of these days I'll talk kind of, like, in depth about, like, something that's going on. Not something that's going on, but things that have happened in my life and my story. Not necessarily as a, like, trauma dump, but just to say, hey, listen, guys, listen. I'm there too. I know what it's like. A lot of us are doing the best that we can, and either just tell this world to go F itself and we just, like, kind of neat, or we just try and fight what damn near feels like our freaking fate, To just be stuck in a wage cage and stuff like that, miserable all the time. And believe me, this world does want you like that. When you look at some of these guys that say, hey, man, F this, I'm going to go build a cabin in the woods, and they kind of, for lack of a better word, stupidly, like, announce it. Next thing you know, the freaking government comes there and tears down their property and arrests them. Why do you think they do it? They don't want you to live free. Yeah, sure, you got all the resources in the world to live free, but they're supposed to be paying us. That's what they think. So you got to be real about that. But all of us are trying the best that we can, with whatever you want to do in your station. If you want to, like, neat and kind of rot, then I understand it. And listen, by no means am I judging. I absolutely understand why you have decided to just kind of neat. If you have a way to, well, you're making enough to, like, kind of just, keep a roof over your head and whatever it may be, and you're just, like, chilling, God bless you, dude. No problems here. F this society. I don't care, you know. But if you're kind of like me and you're just trying to make sure that maybe you got a roof over your head, you got your games and stuff like that, and you're just trying to find, you know, a little bit of peace in this life, then, you know, you're fighting a fight kind of like us, right? But nonetheless, I kind of want to conclude this again. Call my ride. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening as usual. God bless. I will see you guys next time.